We are live.
We are live. All right. I want to welcome everyone to the committee meetings for May 18th of 2020. Just a quick update for everybody that we've gotten today. You may have heard we were close on our metrics for being able to open up for the capital region. We hit 6 out of 7. We're still waiting to hit the metric on the contact tracers. And I know between yesterday and today, all the counties were scrambling to get those numbers or names and email addresses in for people that can do that work. So I believe by tomorrow we will have a sufficient number of contact tracers that are trained. That's going to be a combination of volunteers through our Reserve Medical Corps. It will be some county employees, whether it's public health or someone else that's reassigned temporarily. And I also had an offer from Cooksaki Transport to use some of their employees for a phone bank if that was possible. So Green wound up submitting about 30 names. We wwe were looking for 166 names over 8 counties. So I think we did pretty well in getting our names out there. And we should find out tomorrow whether all those people had gotten trained or not. I believe either tomorrow or Wednesday, we're going to hit that metric to open up on phase 1. And then if just for everybody's information, we did post today the next 4 COVID diagnostic testing dates and sites. They are spread around the county, so in different times. So hopefully it's a little easier for people to participate in that. Sean, anything else that I'm leaving out here?
No, just that the daily meetings that we attend via conference, I think it's safe to say there's an undertow by every county that they want to open, they want to get moving, and while they respect the precautions, I think everyone's feeling it. I think everybody wants to get open.
Hey, Pat, I saw something on Matt's Facebook about masks being distributed again. Is that going to be done in more than one location?
There is. I think there's 4 of them that were set up. I'm trying to think which page it was off of, but
it's
yes.
On the Buy in Green Facebook page had the information. And there were several. There was one in New Baltimore, Athens, Palinville, and the other one, you can't remember off the top of my head.
All right, thanks.
All right, if there's nothing else then, I think we move ahead with our special Public Works Committee meeting. And Chairperson Thornton, if you are ready to go. Do we have Jim on or did we lose him?
I'm on.
There you go.
Yay. Open up Public Works at 6:05. No, 6:08. I'm in an agreement with local 968 AFSCME AFL-C1IC Council 66 regarding the temporary change of work hours and work days.
Langer.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Nay.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm going to need a roll call in order to get those votes straight. If I could have the ayes first.
Langer.
Thornton.
Lawrence,
All right, 3, now the noes, the nays.
Buelich.
Handle.
Martinez,
Hobart,
Lennon.
Okay, the motion dies.
Okay, awarding the fuel bid. I hopefully y'all saw, I believe it was Main Care won the fuel bid.
Martinez,
Buelich.
Handle.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? So carried. Anything else to come before? The only thing I do have is I sent an email out with the update to everybody on the committee of where they were at with road sweeping and everything else that Bob sent today. I don't know if there's any questions.
Yeah, Jim, what do you know anything with the Hunter transfer site? Did Bob say when that's,
I believe they're having a meeting next week. The paperwork's all out for everybody to sign. And it should be, they're having a meeting to figure everything out to make sure we can stay open and do it in sections to keep everything rolling. But everything is under go. We're ready to roll on it.
okay, thanks, Jim.
Anything else?
motion to close, Mr. Chairman.
Second,
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Get that down.
So carried.
Hold a minute.
I did hear from Jack. He's having trouble calling in, just so everyone knows.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, Mr. Lavera, you ready to go?
Sure, am I up next?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you want economic development, right?
Usually economic development comes first.
I was out of rotation, my fault.
And we have a lot to discuss on government operations. I'll try not to lose control.
General.
Linda, we're ready to go.
All right. I'd like to open economic development and tourism at 6:13. We have one action item tonight, declaring a negative declaration of environmental impact under State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, for Big Valley Trailbreakers, Snowmobile Club, Trail Development, and Maintenance.
Buelich.
Handle.
Village,
I'll second.
second Handle. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Thornton, did you also want to second that?
Yes, please, sir.
Opposed? That is passed. And that's all we have for economic development and tourism tonight. Anything that anybody wants to say?
Linda, I just wanted to ask,
I will say, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask about the quality insight. And we haven't really heard any update from Renee on that. Could he maybe come to our next meeting or present something or email the board something about what phase we're in terms of getting that property?
I agree.
That'd be a good idea.
Thank you.
So let them know.
Thank you.
I'd like to just make a comment that over the weekend I've received calls from 6 small businesses just crying for us to do anything that we can do. 4 of them don't even think they're going to be able to reopen. So I did send them to Warren's office for our 0% loan money. They've all been there, but they say that that's just not enough to get them through another month. So I'm hoping that before the end of June, I hope before the end of, or the middle of June, we'll be able to get some of these little restaurants opened. It's a shame these people who have worked so hard to bring these small businesses, and they're small, successful businesses, to this county, and for them to have to go through this. I am at a loss as to what to say to them. That's it for me. Anybody else have anything else?
Can I make a quick comment,
Motion to
Linda, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
Anybody that has any businesses that need either discussion on economic assistance or about the New York Forward Plan and the guidance from the state and the phasing of openings, would you please ask them to contact our office? We recently updated the website with info on the New York Forward Plan and the guidance for businesses, including the links to the metrics and the phasing of opening of businesses and what is going to be expected or required of each business as that phase begins to open. For the last couple weeks, we've been spending the majority of our time talking with businesses and trying to answer their questions or give them our best guidance during the opening. We have met with or fielded calls from and specifically met with business sectors, including the arts, entertainment, accommodations, restaurants, retail, personal services, and tomorrow we have a Zoom meeting with not-for-profits in the county. And of course, every day we send out communications, either social media or email marketing or information on our website on guidance for businesses. It's a lot for our businesses to absorb. Some are ready to go and ready to open. They're working on their safety plans. Others are just trying to come up to speed as to when they'll be able to open or how they'll be able to open. There's a lot of information and a lot of tough choices for the businesses. And the way that the New York Forward Plan works is that each business that's part of the phased opening, they have to go to the website specific to their industry sector. They have to read the guidance document for their business. They have to affirm that they've read the guidelines and upload that to the state. And then they have to prepare a safety plan that they'll keep on file. So we've been communicating with businesses for the last 2-3 weeks about this process. And of course, it's slow information coming out of the governor's office. So when that information comes, we're very aggressive about getting it out on our channels to as many businesses as we can.
Warren, every business has to go through that?
We're told that every phase that opens on this New York Forward website, there is a list of businesses. They're drilling down by what's called NAICS codes. Every business will have to go and follow that direction from the state and affirm that they've read the requirements for them to open and operate safely.
Otherwise, they can't open at all.
Well, that's what we say to every.
They can open.
Each business is responsible
The
for
business
meeting
is
the requirements on
responsible.
their own.
Correct.
Well, who's going to inspect that besides you or the state? Who's going to come and check it out? They're going to be inspected on a regular basis?
I would think unless a complaint is lodged, let's say the social distancing isn't met and somebody calls it in, it would not be the sheriff's department. I would imagine it would be a DOH type representative, but it might start with our sheriff's department or the local law enforcement.
I really do think that you've got to leave it up to businesses, and they should open up as they see fit, guys. And I think we should direct our law enforcement, the sheriff, to escort any state official, Department of Health, or whoever that comes in this county right back out of our county. They're going to try to harass our businesses. That's backing our businesses up right there.
I agree. Our businesses know what they need to do to open.
100%.
And we have passed that that message along, certainly on multiple occasions to the control room.
Does anybody know about restaurants that have outside facilities that could facilitate 6-foot distancing? Would people be able to come and order takeout and take it out onto a patio or out in front of the business and eat it rather than taking it home?
I had a discussion today with the rep, trying to get information in advance, well in advance of each stage, or each phase, I should say, so that the businesses could plan better. We don't need a 3-day notice that you can open. And the question is, would restaurants, food service, et cetera, would it start with a 25% opening, or would it start with some limitation? So I'm not sure that the seating deck is going to be as relative as just a percentage of square footage, the number of tables. They freely admitted that they need to get that information out, but since restaurants are in phase 3, which in theory at a minimum is a month away, then I guess they weren't in a rush. And I disagreed with them vehemently. I said it takes a while to get your employees. You got to get them hired. You got to get them trained. You have to order product. So you just can't tell us 3 days in advance that phase 3 can commence. I was told they would run that up the flagpole.
So I would assume that any business that opens is going to be only subject to somebody making a complaint about them until they pay their taxes or something, I suppose. But I want to know where the enforcement end of this is going to be. Is it going to be full back on Greene County?
I'm going to say yes, that law enforcement would have to be involved. It'd be multiple tiered. Like I say, it could be DOH involved.
So there's any number of ways they can be shut down afterwards, I assume.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lawrence, say it again.
There's any number of ways they can be shut down afterwards by Department of Health or by the some sort of citation or code.
It could go to the liquor board if it's a restaurant we're talking about. It could just be fines, but again, the complication of this needs to be well aired out, well in advance, so that there's no surprises, and then maybe even there's some kind of a grievance process of how, if we can open up at 25% today, I just use that number randomly, when can we go to 50%? When can we go to 75%? Local businesses, particularly mom and pops, need to have this information weeks in advance, not 2 days in advance.
Okay. That's been the practice so far.
Yep.
It's just a shame.
A lot of these employees are not going to want to go back to work because they're making more money on unemployment.
Absolutely right, Linda.
Good point.
Call the Department of Labor and tell them they quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All they
what
have
you
to
do.
say, Mike, is that
They're
they
not
can't
coming
get
in.
childcare. If they say they
What was
can't
that,
get
Patty? I
childcare,
didn't hear it.
if you have an employee who won't come back to work and you call Department of Labor and the person says, hey, I don't have childcare because of COVID, there's nothing you can do. They stay unemployed, get that extra $600 and you don't have your employees.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Or they can just say they're afraid of COVID.
Yep.
And the same thing works.
It's out of control.
It's
Or
way out of
leave.
control.
It's ridiculous. All right, before I go, I'd
Making
like to
slaves
just
of
thank
everybody.
Warren and his whole department for everything they've done. I know that they've been working really, really hard on getting out all this information, and it's not an easy job. So congratulations, Warren. You've done a great job.
Thank you, Linda.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Motion
Good.
to adjourn, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Second on that?
Handle.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Pam, did you get them both? Yes. Mr. Keller, if you've joined us late, can you try to make sure you have limited background noise, televisions, etc.?
I was on mute. I'll be on mute after I speak to you. I'll talk to you at a separate time, or Pat, why I couldn't get in for a half hour, but we'll deal with that later. Let's continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Boy, Matt.
Ready? Mr. Laveri, you are now ready to go.
Okay, we're ready. We're going to be talking about types of angles and lines. Oh, wait a minute. No, this isn't Google classroom. This is our Government Operations Committee. I'd like to call the order at 6:25 p.m. All legislators are present. Myself, Legislator Martinez, Overbaugh, Hobart, Davis, and Keller. There are 5 proposed action items this evening. I did hear from our Director of Greene County Real Property Tax. He did send me an email about resolution number 4, authorizing the chargeback of assessment roll related services and materials. This is a standard resolution charging back the towns for the printing and shipping of their tentative assessment rolls. So if you have any questions, you can certainly email him on that. Our first one is setting resolution number 1, setting public hearing on local law introductory number 1 of 2020, a local law imposing and extending an additional mortgage recording tax in Greene County.
Martinez.
Martinez makes the motion. Overbaugh seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Resolution number 2. This is something I had talked about at our last committee meeting. Resolution joining Assembly Minority Leader Will Barclay in calling the legislature back into session to return it to its basic principle of representative democracy, and I'll make that motion.
Davis.
And I'll second that.
I think everybody on the committee and Chairman Linger,
Lawrence?
Lawrence, and Lennon all have seconded that resolution.
So noted for the record, the entire committee will be on notice for seconding, and I imagine Wednesday night the entire legislature will be.
I think so. So I appreciate Tammy, our clerk, putting that together very quickly for us and working with Assemblyman Tague to get this up to Albany and return our legislature back to work to have our forms and levels of government in place and stop all this executive orders. So any other discussion?
Hey, Matt, how come we don't send it to the leader of the Senate?
I think we put Senator Amador on there.
Okay, so we don't send it to the Assembly President or the Senate President?
I think we put Senator Amador on there.
Well, he's on there, yes.
Yes, yeah, and I think we put a Minority Leader Barclay on there because it was his
Okay.
idea. And then I had asked to send it down to Washington as well to the president and our Association of Counties. Hopefully other counties will follow suit. I think we all in favor?
Aye.
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 So carried. Number 3, resolution calling on congressional delegation to provide counties with direct federal aid to support counties' COVID-19 response and reopening economic activity efforts.
Martinez.
Overbaugh.
Dave.
Motion, Davis second. Any discussion?
Yeah, couple questions, Chairman Rivera.
Sure.
Who introduced this resolution?
Trying to look on here. I believe the New York State Association of Counties is what we have in there. Released the economic impact detailing revenue loss projections.
I get that, but you know, we're calling for this resolution, and we're basically going to put chains around our kids and grandkids to have to pay this back, because that federal money is just borrowed money. And it looks like it's meant to help with all facets of county government rather than specifically for some of the response we had to undertake, you know, with the virus.
Yeah, the second page of the resolution talks about the federal stimulus legislation. Let's give counties who receive funding under the Coronavirus Relief Fund as part of the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, the CARES Act, the ability to use these funds to supplement projected revenue loss. I don't know, Sean, do you have any further information on that?
Other than the fact that this is really in response to the first two federal stimulus packages, that there was no direct funding to counties, yet it's counties that are certainly bearing the brunt of, because we are the ones who have the public health departments, we are the ones that collect sales taxes. And the previous stimulus monies, large cities, particularly cities above 500,000 in population, which doesn't really address anything even close to geographically. Noted Mr. Bulich's point. The current stimulation, the bill that came out of the House had a whole package of laundry list items that were not necessarily related to COVID. I agree with his point in notion. You don't bail out pension funds because of COVID, but that's the way the current legislation is proposed. And whether or not it passes in its current form, I would doubt.
Anything else, Legislator Bulich?
No, I'm just asking people to be cautious about lending their name to this type of resolution that gives quotes the unrestricted use to make our government agencies whole, or even the statewide, because it'll make our job easy, yes, but there's some serious thought that's going to have to take place about what we consider essential in government and what we've been paying for currently. And this is what needs to happen, so we don't have to keep borrowing money and rolling the dice every year when we budget. And I'm not talking about just our county, but at a federal level, and this is where this all starts. So
I agree with you.
Just airing that caution for everybody.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. Number 4, authorizing chargeback of assessment role-related services and materials. I'll make the motion. We need a second.
Second.
By Legislator Lennon. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And number 5, authorization distribution of mortgage tax.
Martinez.
Arnett, the motion. Hobart seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. We have a discussion regarding our reopening of county government. I wanted to specifically thank our county administrator, Groden, for his diligent work in putting that document together, sending it to our department heads. It was very lengthy and very specific. So Sean, you did a great job with that, and I appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody on the board appreciates that work.
Thank you, sir.
I'll turn it over to you.
As we move closer to an opening date, there are a number of action items that the board will need to consider. For instance, the Friday closure of all office buildings. We'll need to review how and by what, let's say, percentage to reactivate certain departments. Large departments may need to be rolled out more slowly versus a department that, let's say, has 4 or 5 people in it. Each individual department really will have different needs and requirements. Some of those requirements could be physical requirements in their respective geography, particularly those that hold any kind of clientele, patient, customer, how are transactions going to be occurring. We may also have an issue of continuation of telecommuting as well. So these things need to be flushed out. As our region is not open up yet technically, although Mr. Linger is an eternal optimist. The original thought was we would be considering opening up in the short week. We'll need a couple days once we get the go ahead and once I assemble all of the proposals to flush them out. So my original thought was we would make some decisions and then Tuesday on the short week recommence. We need to get back to work. We need to get backlogs taken care of. And so hopefully my goal was to receive all those proposals back from each department by tomorrow. And we can go from there. But short story is we need to get back to work.
And I like the idea, you had mentioned almost like an analogy of turning a faucet. We turn that faucet on a little bit and bring in, part of our staff at a time, with proper procedures in place, having our, sanitation stations with hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, etc. So thank you for that. Any other discussion from the board regarding our reopening of county government?
No.
I think Sean put out a good document, and I know all of the department heads have looked at it. Some already had plans written down and were able to fill in the gaps there pretty quickly. So, I think we need to put a little trust in them too, that they know their business and their workspace, and they've got a pretty good idea as to how to make that return safely.
So what is the earliest we're talking about?
I'm sorry, Mr. Lawrence, what was that?
What's the earliest date we're talking about? Do you have one in mind?
Originally, it was Tuesday in the short week.
I know that's over, but June? You're talking about the middle of June?
No. Next week.
Okay.
We could resume modest operations in some departments. Really, 2 or 3 days notice to people, but if it needed to go the following week, okay. But I've been telling departments head since last week that the time is getting closer, and therefore have your plans ready, have your thought process out, be thinking about how operations may change because of the virus, or because of the change, will those operations continue in some form, for instance, telecommuting?
I think that has to be considered, as we stated once before. Everything that we're doing right now has to be in play. There could be a number of employees still telecommuting from their home. There will be a number more coming into work. We have the masks. We have, as Matt said, we have the sanitation stations. But we also have to remember this is going to be there'll be changes in progress as we go forward. One day we may do something different, a best practice. Think we could do it another way. So it's going to be, going forward, but there'll be some changes along the way. But I think we're at a good start, Sean. It was a great document. I read it over. Seemed to have everything that we talked about in there. Now it's up to the department heads to get their plan to you for review, and hopefully within a week we could open up a certain percentage. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sean, are you going to send that to us in an email, when these departments submit that to you? Yes, great. All right, anything else to come before Government Operations Committee? If not, I'll entertain a motion from Legislator Martinez to adjourn.
Second.
Seconded by Legislator Lennon, and we are adjourned, and we didn't even lose control, Charlie.
Almost.
Kept it together.
Oh, here we go.
Now remember, we're live, Charlie.
People know how I talk. Ready to go?
Not yet. All right, Mr. Martinez, you are live.
Okay. Several proposed action items. If the little general will keep still, we'll get through these pretty rapidly. Number one, setting public hearing on local law introductory number 1 of 2020, local law imposing and extending additional mortgage recording tax in Greene County.
Lennon.
Hobart.
Mr. Lennon and Mr. Hobart seconds it. All in favor of this?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Number 2, resolution of the legislature of the County of Greene increasing the rate of taxes on sales, uses of tangible personal property and on certain services and on occupancy of hotel rooms and amusement charges pursuant to Article 29 of the tax law of the state of New York. Can we have a little discussion on that?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
John? Or
No, I can't.
hotel rooms, what's
Tammy,
hotel rooms yet?
It's increasing the sales tax, right, to 4%?
Yes, it's increasing the county's cut of the sales tax from 3 to 4%. So
Has
it's
to be done biannually, I think.
Yeah. well,
Yes.
Yes, so, no, what threw me off was the occupancy in the hotel. This is not a
Yeah.
hot tax.
okay.
No.
That's what threw me off.
If you look below to the amendment, it's just increasing sales tax from 7% to 8% total.
We do all the time,
I'll make that motion.
Correct.
So what's the county share going to be an increase?
4.
It's 1%, so it goes from 3% to 4% for the county.
That we're keeping. We're going to keep.
Not an increase, it's.
Yeah, it's not an increase. It just
It's
remains
keeping
the
it
same.
what it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So Davis will second that.
Martinez Davis.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Like the mortgage tax, this has to be renewed on a cyclical basis. That's all it is.
That's carried. Number 3, resolution calling on congressional delegation to provide counties with direct federal aid to support counties' COVID-19 response and reopening economic activity efforts.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Overbaugh.
Langer.
Overball seconds it, along with Chairman Linger. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Carried.
Buelich is opposed.
Buelich is
I was
opposed.
waiting for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hang on, I just want to make sure that vote gets recorded properly. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, number 4, Federal Transit Agreement, 219-220, Section 5311, Operating Assistance for Sponsors with Continued Operating Agreements.
Langer.
Linger,
Davis.
Davis, second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Also carried. Number 5, awarding fuel oil bid.
Hobart.
Mr. Hobart? Mr. Bueller seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number 6, authorize the county highway superintendent to advertise for the replacement of County Route 6 bridge over the Westkill bin number 3-30296-0, Town of Lexington, pin number 1760.21.
Buelich.
Gardner.
Buelich, who seconded?
Gardner.
Mr. Gardner? All right, Larry, you're there. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Number 7, authorize the county highway superintendent to advertise for the construction of the County Route 12 South Street Bicycle Lane, Town of Wyndham, pin number 1760.22. Larry, would you like this?
Love to. Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to introduce it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Go to second.
Langer.
Linger seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Number 8, resolution authorizing implementation and funding in the first instant, 100% of the federal aid and state Marchicelli program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project, appropriating funds therefore.
Lennon.
Lawrence,
Mr. Lennon, Mr. Lawrence seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. Number 9, authorize supplemental agreement number 1 necessary for the completion of the design phase for County Route 23B over the Shingle Hill. Bid number 3-30328-0, Bridge Preservation Project, Town of Carroll. Bid number 1760.24, Mr. Harry Lennon.
Lawrence, two.
Lawrence seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Okay, number 10, authorizing bids to purchase materials, Highway Department.
Lennon.
Buelich.
Lennon, Mr. Buick seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number 11, awarding bid for wash and screen crushed stone.
Hobart.
Hobart, Mr. Buick seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. Number 12, awarding the replacement Wolf Road Bridge over to Westkill. Bid number 3-36359-0, Town of Lexington. Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Buelich.
Mr. Buick seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Number 13, authorizing chargeback of assessment roll related services and materials.
Hobart.
Mr. Hobart, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's also carried. 14, authorization distribution of mortgage tax. Martinez.
Hobart.
Hobart seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Martinez.
Any opposed? That's carried. 15, authorizing county treasurer to extend the redemption deadline for the 218 MREM tax foreclosure.
Lennon.
Hobart.
Mr. Hobart seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. Where are we? 16? Yeah, 17. 16. Authorizing county treasurer to cancel June 2020 interest on delinquent real property taxes.
Hobart.
Who authorized it?
Lennon.
Mr. Lennon, Mr. Linger seconds it.
Hobart, Lennon.
Hobart Lennon, that's fine. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, that's carried. 17, budget amendment, Green County Community Service Board, HCS Columbia University grant.
Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Linger.
Mr. Gardner seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
That's carried. 18, budget amendment, Green County Board of Election, HAVA care grant, COVID-19.
Lennon.
Mr. Lennon. I'll second it.
Overbaugh.
In favor? In
Lennon.
favor? Opposed? That's carried. Number 19, budget amendment, Green County Human Services, COVID-19 stimulus funding.
Linger.
Mr. Linger.
Davis.
Mr. Davis seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's carried. 20, authorized agreement, Green County Public Health Department and Health Research, Inc., Public Health Emergency Preparedness. Martinez.
Hobart.
Hobart seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's carried. 21, budget amendment, Green County Public Health and Health Research, Inc. Corona COVID-19.
Hobart.
Overbaugh.
Mr. Overwald seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. 22, budget amendment, Green County Sheriff's Office, safety vest.
Lennon.
Hobart.
Davis.
Art seconds it. along
Mr.
with-
Chairman, I have a
Yes.
question. I have a question on this. Did we approve this in previous committee meetings? The actual purchase of safety vests?
I'm not aware of it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a direct grant, so I don't recall it myself.
Well, what there is there's a new grant available from the federal government where they're going to pay for half of all the new body armor vests. And we'll have to pay 50% of that. A lot of the body armor vests, talking to deputies, they're dated. Some of them are out of date. So this will provide all our deputies with new body armor vests.
I don't get out of date, but what are they, just not fashionable or what?
No, the ballistic nylon is only good for so long. Kind of like the plastic on car seats.
Okay.
I don't know what the life is, 10 years, 8 years.
So how many?
But it degrades.
Greg, do you know how many they're purchasing?
I think it's down at the bottom of the, if you look up, it's down at the very bottom. And it's just, I believe, new vests for everybody.
Okay.
It's a safety factor, that's for sure.
Yes, it is.
We're only going to pay 50% of it. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're just transferring that money from other, this is not new money going into their budget. It's just being moved from one area of their budget to this area.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
All right. You got it.
All right. Who introduced it? Anybody?
I did.
Leonard Hobart.
Harry?
Losing control.
I think you're right.
You need it all in favor, sir.
All in favor, sir.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I am losing control. That's carried. 23, budget amendment, Greene County Department of Social Services, Northeast Parent and Child Safety. Martinez, who'd like to second?
Davis.
Mr. Davis seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So carried. 24, authorization to pay claims, highway.
Hobart.
Hobart,
Buelich.
Buelich seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. 25, authorization to pay claims. Mr. Gardner, and I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That's carried. Done with the resolutions. Went pretty quick, Matt.
Bad.
I think we have the treasurer with us tonight. He'll probably give
Yes.
us a report, hopefully.
Yes, the treasurer is with you. You have in your packets the monthly report. I don't need to go through that, but I sent you a list of delinquent taxes as to towns, which you should have received. As of April 30th, 1,193 properties spread out the county were delinquent in taxes. Of those, 636 had an outside Greene County mailing address. The fact that we are extending the redemption period in 30-day increments is generating some significant payment of back taxes. So inevitably, we end up with over 1,000, and when we get to auction time, we are down to 50. So as long as we keep that going, we'll be all set. I will tell you that the Treasury office has been functioning every day. People have been on, staggered schedules, except for one or two people who are there every day. And we will be presenting a proposed, opening with some very significant changes as to how we do business. And one of those changes will be that we will not accept cash any longer. It's too dangerous, and the bank is right around the corner where you can go and get a check. So unless you have questions, and of course you all saw the most recent sales tax, big hit, but it's not like anything we weren't expecting. So if questions, I'm here.
Yes,
Peter,
Pete.
we're gonna have an
Mike.
auction this fall, or did you cancel that?
What was that?
Are we gonna have an auction this fall?
I'm not canceling anything yet, but I will tell you this, that we, I'm talking with the Director of Taxation, and since a lot of counties are actually pushing their auctions to 2021, we may consider doing that, but it's still too early. I don't think we'll do it in September, though.
Peter, Ed here. Just briefly, there was a new directive from the Office of Court Administration today, which would bar us from even planning the auction at this point.
Yeah. The court is going to hold us up because they won't sign any of the information we have because they're not open.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to punch the tablet.
Well, I guess it's in your hands, Peter.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for Pete. How worried, Pete, are you about the fact that the municipalities and school districts may not be as focused as this county may be to in its issuance on the property tax and try to save people money with the property taxes, and the fact that you're going to have to make these municipalities whole?
Exactly.
Because our school district here, I basically have no idea what they're planning because of this whole COVID thing. And there's going to be an absentee ballot.
I'm not sure why it was on safe driving mode.
There's too much talking going on here. Mike, go ahead.
Well, the absentee ballot votes, we really have very little information on these school districts if they're going to, bite the bullet as we plan maybe to do in the county about shrinking the size of government to not impose larger taxes on people. And the fact that these municipalities and school districts might not be so worried about that because you're going to make them whole. And
Exactly.
that's going to drop your balance way down. And so how do we get that through to them? Do we send them a letter from this legislature with some type of change that can take place? I know obviously there's probably state laws that require the counties to do this, but is there any avenue for us to make it more difficult for them to just have this flow of money from the county on the delinquent taxes?
Unfortunately, Mike, it's by statute. There's nothing we can do about it. Basically says the county makes the school district whole.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the town basically makes themselves whole before they send us their the money that's owed to us. In fact, they earn interest on it. Okay, right. Which is really our interest. But you know something? It's not enough to get into a screaming contest. Not yet, anyway.
Sure,
right now, financially, the county is in great shape. Okay, as of May 13th, we had $70 million cash on hand, and money keeps coming in. As long as we keep doing these in-rem redemption periods, people call us and I tell them, look, you got another 30 days. Get me the money. Okay, so that's the way we're playing the game right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Good job.
Good. Thank you, Pete.
Okay.
Any other questions for the treasurer?
Yep.
Somebody said yeah.
Closed, Mr. Chairman.
Well,
Run into close. I need a second.
I'll second it. We're closed.
Not bad.
All right.
Not
We're
bad.
closed. Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you.
We're done. Okay.
Done?
Hi, Charlie.
Hey, look at a big
Just
dog.
waiting to see if we are
Yeah.
off of being live yet.
There we go.